Close.
Now we have on the bottom field, it'll be Czech Republic versus Spain.
So the crowd well behind the Spanish fighters. The first time they fielded their own 21 versus 21 team.
Different bit of difference for the Czech Republic team, who last year obviously were the favourites.
That's right.
Old favourite versus new favourites. Oh, a nice takedown from the rear there. A solid push. It seems like people are getting caught off guard.
You can see that stunning armour there.
Indeed,
From
indeed.
Big Pavel. It seems to be a very close fight here, however. But yeah, the Czech fighters with their experience do have the available runners, it seems. However, goes charging into one of the Spanish fighters there.
Indeed. Misplaced though, I feel charging them into their own fighter. It's not the best effort.
No, good look at the size of Pavel taking down the Spanish fighter there.
But he doesn't seem to be having the advantage.
It's not that easy, but throws him around.
Some ambitious Spaniard decides to try and take on Pavel, but is met by another Czech fighter hooking him up. They seem to be holding on to the edge of the list a bit.
Big shots there coming down from the Czech, who are very, very aggressive. Unfortunately, both have gone down. Their bodies are piling up on the side there.
As this is the most impressive aspect of this game, is having those bodies pile up.
As you can see, we've got a much better angle on how things are shaping up elsewhere. It seems to be all the Czech Republic from now here on in. I think they'll be dealing with the last remaining Spanish fighters.
Continúa.
And I believe that's already been called. There's a victory there for the Czech Republic.
Y los árbitros
Oh, very impressive work.
piden el fin del combate.
And again, the Czech Republic team more experienced in this category.
Que gana el equipo de la
Still a lot
República
of support there, and well-deserved support for the Spanish here. So they will substitute a few of the fighters there. As you can see the replay that the charges were coming from the Czech Republic. I think the Spanish were trying to rely on the speed there, but because they were closed down because of the compactness of the Czech Republic, they weren't able to use the speed to the maximum possibility. And you can see there, very, very solid performance there from the Spanish, but again, coming from behind, from holding the line, those runners got loose. They found themselves free in the wrong places and are getting pushed down from behind. They are getting tripped. Like we're ready to go there. The marshal.
Here they come and they engage. Strong south side of that fight, but the Hungarians and the Czech Republic met them nicely.
Already you've got one Czech fighter down there who went too far into the Spanish half. A nice takedown there from the Czech Republic. Some good running there. So going for the trip, but not quite getting the Spanish fighter who's gone to change his weapon.
Yes, because obviously he dropped it. This happens a lot in these fights. Some great overhead shots coming from a Czech Republic fighter, the one in the black with the beam there. Obviously nothing enough to make a bit of a difference.
Mildly slowed down there, and I think that, yeah, the Czechs do have the upper hand now. Although some nice takedowns still coming from the Spanish fighters there. Some great runs coming through. If you could just find that fighter there, but can't quite take him down from the rush behind.
Might mean that they actually even out now. So if we look on the field, we seem to have pretty even numbers. Oh,
it's a massive takedown! Some stunning work there.
Some shots from the Hungarian into that Spanish fighter as he goes down off to the bottom left of your screen. Spanish coming in to attack him as we cut to the shield punches.
Big takedown there by the Hungarian.
Fantastic shield punches coming there from the large Spaniard. Not enough to make enough of a difference there. As you see,
pretty even, I have to say. What have we gone? I think we're on.
So hard to tell with all the bodies lying around. The Spanish trying to push the Hungarian down, doesn't go down with him, does well standing up.
Goes for us, and they're both down there.
Both of those
that
down.
Spanish fighter will go down. He should be down. The marshal should take him out. And I don't believe the Czech fighter should have been out for that because the...
Yes, but at the same time, I don't know if that Spanish fighter actually meant to get up. He was just kind of repositioning himself, and the Czech fighter engaged him before any chance.
Big shots coming out from the Spanish fighter against the Czech Republic fighter there.
This is
rushing down with a halberd, and that's wonderful news there for the Spanish team with their first victory in 21 versus 21.
Incredible, but at the same time, not that many points. I don't know if they're going to counteract the last round.
Well, that's right. There are only a few of them remaining. However,
I'm not sure if they're ready for the next fight. Probably energy a bit spent from the last round. We'll see how quickly they are ready to go.
I'd say so.
I'm hearing a medical call, I believe.
That's right, yeah. I think that's something outside the list there.
Definitely no one inside the list with any sort of injury, but people can be fatigued and they even collapse after a fight has happened.
Yes, that's true. You can see just at the top there, the UK team are ready and waiting to get into the list. Now the Czech fighters holding their line here.
With that giant standing ready.
Yes.
Seems like he's chosen a pole axe this time. He had a long sword before.
Well, I think he's got to take advantage of his height there. Wielding a pole axe is the smart idea if you do have a height advantage.
That long sword, though, whenever it comes down, he collects them quite hard.
Oh, he does.
And the one beautiful thing about, obviously, any weapon that has bladed edge is the bladed edge is going to be the most painful.
Sure.
Majority of the time, especially if it hits anything that's unarmored. So having an axe gives you a very small area of, I would say, pain and larger area of shock. The whole point of a forward-facing part of a blade is it carries more energy with it. You connect before you think you're going to connect, which is one of the points of falchions and heavy-tipped weapons.
Absolutely.
But the longsword, meaning that wherever you connect, you're going to deliver that pain. You're going to deliver that pressure per square inch.
I can see two teams on the back of losses. The USA lost against Italy and the UK lost against Russia are about to face off.
Focusing now, obviously, on the Czech team and the Spanish team, obviously waiting for this fight to kick off. Not sure as to what's happening. Looks like they're still waiting on something just off side of the screen. The night marshal is conferring with a few of these other marshals to figure out what's happening. Czech being ready, and this is not the first or the last time you're going to see a mass battle team ready and waiting for the other team to be ready. So much coordination required to have everything down pat, and sometimes all it takes is for more than budgeted amount of people to have their armor fail, and you need to find someone to replace some armor, fix an armor, or get a new team member in. The fight is off.
It's off. An early rush on one side of there from the Czech, who
pushing
have
really hard by the Czech in the north. Yes,
driven right back deep into Czech territory. However, into Spanish territory. Excuse me.
As we can see, obviously these giant here getting those two hands.
So both teams are looking to push through with some crushing blows at the moment. You can see how far and hard they are forced into the ground. A big advantage there from the Spanish. The Czech fighter manages to stay up, having taken him down.
As we can see, there's a bit of an outnumbering in the center of the field, with a few fighters getting outnumbered. But
fighters are dropping all the time now.
And we're seeing that Czech fighter went down while trying to take another one down.
That's
Smart moves from that Czech fighter trying for a trip, but unfortunately not enough up against the edge of the list. We have these Spanish fighters coming in with big two-handed weapons, but the same is happening with the Czech fighters at a different part of the field.
Very athletic, these Spanish fighters, however, they're able to resist these attacks. Great shot there.
Yes, he was. I don't think he was aware that fighter was running right past the Spanish fighter.
And it's
becoming a bit of a clinch here. Some fighters wanting to throw one another. We have some impressive paintwork on that helmet there. Not enough to...
yeah, you've got a great throw down there. Unfortunately, the Spanish fighter went down too.
Again, another fight to the line. This is going to be an intense fight here.
Yeah, I do think, however, the Czech Republic does have the advantage in terms of numbers.
We seem to have lost a weapon in the top left corner here. He seems to have no weapon on himself and has decided to just go down.
And that's it, and he can't fight back at that point. And there's a big rush there from the Czech fighter, charges into him.
But this is met, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see how this ends up. You're able to see, obviously, the UK and America getting ready in that top list there. We'll pass to that shortly. You can see in the bottom corner, obviously, the spare Spanish fighter taking on the spare Czech fighter, but the Czech do actually have the numbers at the moment.
And they're going for a takedown there. And he could take two of them down at the same time. You can see the fatigue of the Czech fighters at this point.
When there's so many other people dead on the ground, it becomes a very complicated thing. Remember, if a torso touches a torso, that they are also out. Yep. Oh, then that fighter is down. That was using the body very sensibly. But now it seems to be the two largest Spanish fighters in the middle there. One Spanish fighter just barely hanging on, and he's down. Now we have those two against the largest Spanish fighter.
There's an absolute pile of bodies there. Just on the other side of the list, you do have two Czech fighters against one big Spanish fighter.
The big Spanish fighter getting some good knees in there, but not enough to make a difference. Trying to trip him. It seems that the Czech fighters...
Oh, that's a massive takedown there from Spain. It evens out the score.
Unfortunately, one of the Czech fighters was paused by a marshal for some armor questioning about the thumb. This means it's now a 3-2 fight. this Spanish fighter, the larger one, being an aggressive attacker, but now being tangled up with another two-handed pole axe wielder.
Oh, you can
He's
see that,
broken his weapon. He needs to
absolutely
go and get
smashed
something.
that pole arm. Hopefully the Spanish fighter will be able to capitalize on the time advantage that he has before the other Czech fighter can come back with a new weapon. He
But
comes
he's back
now.
already. Oh, unfortunately, not with any pole axe. So now he's caught.
I'm very surprised at that. I don't think that was a smart move. He should have taken advantage of the numbers he had there.
No. I think he tried. Unfortunately, didn't get a hook around the Czech fighter's helmet. That Czech fighter is very close to the ground now.
Oh, so is the Spanish fighter, though. I'm not sure how this is going to go. They might both go down at the same time.
If I was that Czech fighter, I'd hold on for dear life.
Dropping blows coming from that Czech fighter, but you can see the fatigue, and he's in a good position to take
and the Czech fighter's down.
Oh, and then it's 2 versus 2.
He was only supported by that Spanish fighter up against the wall.
Well, and we've got these 2 big Spanish fighters.
To be honest, if it comes down to size, I think they've got it. But
however, look at the big Czech with the yellow and black helmet there. He's in a very dangerous position because he does have a grounded Czech fighter behind him, so he may trip up. And I think
the large Spanish fighter.
I think that the Czech fighter is trying to use that grounded fighter to his advantage.
He might do. This becomes a game of endurance between these 2 pole axe wielders to the left. Yeah. On the right side, we have obviously a sword and shield user against a single.
And his helmet has come loose in one arm, so he's got to be very, very careful. He's not guilty of pulling down the helmet. You can see the marshals now. I pointed that out, and I think he's.
I don't believe he was grabbing it, though. They are saying he is, but I can see.
I think he was very close to it. I think that was the temptation.
I
think the marshal was right not to stop it, but to tap on the hand to make sure he was aware that it could have been a legal move. That is fair enough.
Agreed. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people surrounding the list, and some people like to give their opinion before it's warranted. So we need to make sure that we let the marshals do their jobs.
This is absolutely intense right now. They must be going through so much absolute pain. They must be exhausted at this point.
Especially when it's a 1-to-1, and so now we're seeing the decider. This is it. This is what decides who wins.
Falchion against Falchion. Pole arm against pole arm.
And at this moment, there is going to be this is going to be down to the line, the last person standing. There is no way to default this.
If the Spanish can pull this off, it will be something quite incredible against the experienced Czech team, but they are not to be underestimated.
But the Czech's not letting up. He's doing his best to push back. Seemingly, obviously, we have them both getting very tired. The Spanish fighter just off screen is trying to get away to help his comrade, but that Czech fighter is not letting him go, holding onto his arm. Dropping of the head, meaning that he's probably getting, the big Spanish fighter's probably getting a little tired.
I think they're going to be broken up there because of a lull in the action.
Not the most favourable thing, but none of them really had an advantage in their position.
That's true.
So no bodies are allowed to move, and hopefully no one decides to get up.
Where they are, but the thing is the Czechs have moved back into a useful position. I think they're going to slam right back into them. However, it is the Spanish that take the fight to the Czechs.
I really shouldn't have used that space to their, like they should not have had that space. Nope. As the smaller fighters, they should have been around the bodies. Something to learn from the Israeli team. Again, this Spanish fighter not able to do anything, but also not easily taken down. Oh, nice leg sweep there, but not enough. Need to follow up with a twist of the core to bring him down.
Yeah, of course, it's his opposing leg which has all the weight on it. So
it seems like they've swapped oppositions, though. Obviously, each fighter is now against a fighter that they're not used to.
I don't think that's going to be an advantage there.
The Czech fighter off screen has just taken down the Spanish, leading to a 2-on-1 fight. Wow. Seems like they're breaking it up. I'm not sure why. Either this is becoming a lull in action. Maybe the Spanish might forfeit.
Or I'm not exactly sure. It was a very, very tense moment, and of course, you know, once again, the Spanish have found themselves, well, the Spaniard has found himself.
The Spanish is hugging out the Czech. Maybe this is it. Maybe they've conferred.
La victoria es para la República Checa.
That's it, yep. The Czech Republic victors in that nail-biting round. Well, there were a few yellow cards, various yellow cards, and I think it was just one red card. And that's the start of
French
the Czech
moving in
Republic.
fast, but backing off nicely, trying to just take away the initiative. One Czech fighter getting caught on there. He's a compadre. Czech fighter down, but seems that France and Czech are nicely met here. France coming in fast and strong with their experience.
Are now moving around. They seem pretty even, though, it has to be said. Those skirmishes all around the list.
One Hungarian down. I think the numbers are slowly piling in the French favour.
I think so. But you can see a nice rush there, and he's gone down. Very impressive work from this much more organised French team.
About 5 or 6 Czech Republic against the rest of the French fighters here.
Yeah, some big shots
focusing
there.
in on that corner there with only 2 Czech fighters left. Maybe they'll be able to recover at least a few points, but it seems like French have taken down nearly every fighter except for 2.
Down there.
It's amazing that the marshals have not called it yet. It is only 2 fighters left.
Sure.
And it seems like it has been called.
It looks like it, yep.
One final blow to finish off the fight.
A victory there for France. Gives them an early advantage. And we're still waiting for Russia, USA to get underway in the top list of France versus the Czech Republic.
Oh, French again moving in nice and hard to finish off the fight here, but it doesn't seem like they're able to commit as much as they did last time. They're keeping that line steady though. We're seeing Czech getting a bit tangled up in the corner there. Some nice close-ups. Fantastic shots by that pole arm for the French fighter. Unfortunately, we're getting a little messy here for the Czech Republic. The only unfortunate thing happening would be the loss of numbers it seems the Czech Republic is experiencing. A few fighters going down.
Oh, there's some sharp work there from France, however. Big takedowns.
Indeed, a few fighters being caught off guard and rolling, but Czech does have some numbers. If they can take a few down with them, then it might even the odds.
Oh, that's very
optimistic, I know, but unfortunately it does not seem to be going in their favor with about 6 against 1 Czech fighter there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be called. There's just some action in the corner. We can't quite see it, but I believe, yeah, that has been called by the marshals. Important victory there for France.
An unfortunate turn of events for the Czech team, but I mean, French with their experience,
yeah.
France with their experience is incredible. It's not surprising, to be honest.
Yeah.